So today's Tech Talk, I wanted to talk about cryptocurrency and NFTs. And I feel like, everyone can notice that there's been a big uptick in conversations about cryptocurrency and NFTs. It seems to be everywhere you look, on the news, magazine articles, newspaper articles, people are talking about it. So I figured I would go over it a little bit. I also have kind of a personal history with these things because I'll tell you first my cryptocurrency experience, which is around 2015. My friend James sent me about $20 worth of Bitcoin. He was talking about it. I had no idea what it is. I downloaded Coinbase, the app, and he sent it to me. I think I spent $15 of it on like a sandwich or something at a place that took Bitcoin. And then I had $5 left in it, and I totally forgot about it. And then a few years later, I was hearing about, it was going up like crazy in price, and people were, cashing out at these crazy prices. So I checked, and I actually still had that $5, and it had turned into like $100. Now, if I still had the $20, it would have been even more. And actually, if I had not sold it then, it would even be a lot more now. So it's just interesting. It seems like one of those things that you kind of want to be on the ground floor on because it's going to be the next big thing. But it's definitely a volatile market, and it's always one of these things you can look back and say, oh, I should have invested this or I should have done that, but you can never really predict the future. And I just want to also say that this is not financial advice. This is just informational, and I'm not suggesting that anyone should invest in any of these things. I'm just trying to give an overview of what they are. And then NFTs I kept hearing about as well. And this past summer, I started researching it a bit more. There was an article in the New York Times about this pudgy penguins thing. And I was thinking, wow, I don't know what this is, but I kind of get it. It's an internet thing. I'm a digital native. Maybe I really can get into this. I like graphic novels. I like comics. So maybe this art, I can understand it. I understand internet culture. So I started kind of investing in it, and I actually have done pretty well for myself with it. And it's been a really fun ride. And so, just to give you this background that I'm actually, especially with the NFTs, I'm really deep in it myself on a personal level. So, I definitely care about this a lot. And I hope I can teach you about it. And if you have any questions, let me know. But there'll definitely be time at the end for me to answer any questions if you want to wait. And if you have any issues hearing me or seeing my screen, just let me know. So one of these terms that gets thrown around that you may or may not have heard of is Web 3.0. So what is Web 3.0? So it could be called Web 3. And it's an idea for a new iteration of the World Wide Web based on blockchain technology, which incorporates concepts including decentralization and token-based economics. Now, some technologists and journalists have contrasted it with Web 2.0, wherein they say data and content are centralized in a small group of companies, sometimes referred to as big tech. The term was coined in 2014 by Ethereum co-founder Gavin Wood, and the idea gained interest in 2021 from cryptocurrency enthusiasts, large technology companies, and venture capital firms. So the Web3 is kind of this big web of meaning, think of the way we've been using technology for the past, decade or two with Facebook and social media. And it's, the idea that we've been using their websites, giving them data. They've been making money off of our data, but we don't get that money back. And then there's also all these other issues with these social media companies. So, people started questioning it. And Web 3.0 is more of the idea of you're taking down this big monolith of Facebook and you're really just focusing on peer-to-peer and kind of decentralizing and flattening the structure in all sorts of ways, in the technology, in the art, in the way it looks, in the way it's distributed, in the way people interact with it. So just to give you a sense that it's even more than cryptocurrency, even more than NFTs, it's this idea of Web 3.0. What is a cryptocurrency? Well, a cryptocurrency is just a new form of digital money. But what sets cryptocurrencies apart from traditional money is the technology behind them. So what is that technology? It's blockchain. I'll go into that a little bit more in a bit. But why use cryptocurrency? So it attempts to solve some issues. Some payment systems, such as credit cards and wire transfers, are outdated. Some cryptocurrencies are more instant, and there's no middleman. It's just, from me to you. In most cases, a bunch of middlemen like banks and brokers take a cut in the process, making transactions expensive and slow. Financial inequality is growing around the globe, and there are around 3 billion unbanked or underbanked people that can't access financial services, which is approximately half the population of the planet. But those are just, I think, some of the use cases. It's kind of bigger than that. But what is the definition of money? So for money to be valuable, it must have several characteristics, right? Enough people must have it, which I think, with Bitcoin, we can see there's, and other cryptocurrencies, there's enough people that have it. Merchants must support it as a form of payment. And so you're seeing that starting to happen with, different places maybe accepting now something like Bitcoin as payment. And society must trust that it's valuable and that it will remain valuable in the future. And I think this is where, people have trouble getting their heads around it, because it's like, well, what is this thing? Is it even worth anything? Is it going to be worth anything in 10 years? And, I think it's hard. I mean, I can't answer that question, but I think money in general, we trust that there's value behind these little green notes that we pass each other. And I think that there's a sense of that with cryptocurrency, is like, it, starts to have value because people value it. And that's the same with the NFTs as well. It's just because there's enough people that are interested in it and are valuing it. And because it is decentralized, it can just grow that way. What is the blockchain? So this is a little bit hard to understand, but basically it's a few different things. A blockchain is a data structure that makes it possible to create a digital ledger of data and share it among a network of independent parties. So, think of a ledger that's taking notes of payments or something like that. That's essentially what it is, but it's digital, and it's among a network of independent parties, meaning it's not Amazon that owns it in one data farm. It's among independent parties, a bunch of different people who are hosting different parts of it. Blockchains use cryptography to allow each participant on any given network to enforce the rules. The removal of central authority from the database structure is one of the most important and powerful aspects of blockchains. And so, the cryptography is basically so it can't be hacked. And it allows, again, there's no central authority, so the rules are just enforced by everyone that is giving it the power. A blockchain is a peer-to-peer system with no central authority managing data flow. Excuse me. Blockchains are recognized as the fifth evolution of computing because they're a new trust layer for the internet. Here's some cryptocurrency history, okay? The first ever cryptocurrency was Bitcoin, so that's probably why you've heard of it. It's the one that's been around for the longest. Bitcoin was the first product of the first blockchain developed by some anonymous entity who went by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. And it is kind of mysterious. No one really knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. Some people thought it was like a Japanese man, but some people think it's a team of different people. And it's still a mystery, actually. No one knows who it really was. But Satoshi released the idea of Bitcoin in 2008 and described it as a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic money. And that's actually, that is what it is, peer-to-peer version of electronic money. That's a good distillation of it. Cryptocurrencies are created through a process called mining. So mining cryptocurrencies involves powerful computers solving complicated problems. And so that's kind of how it works through the cryptography, right? But this has also been highly criticized because it takes a lot of energy for, these computers to be solving these complicated problems. And so, from an environmental standpoint, you're looking at this and saying, we're creating all of these computers, we're giving them a reason to be cranking out all this energy, and it's contributing to global warming. And then, what's the point of that? We don't need any of this. And I think that's a very valid concern. I think that the people really passionate about it are working towards, making these things as energy efficient as possible. But I do think also some of the hysteria is a little overblown because, anything that uses computers is using a lot of energy. Every Pixar movie, think about how much energy it takes to create a Pixar movie. People aren't thinking about that, but any digital process is going to affect the environment. That's something we need to think about. Bitcoin remained the only cryptocurrency until 2011. And then alternative coins, also known as altcoins, were designed to improve on speed, security, anonymity, and more. And now there are over 5,000 cryptocurrencies available. They seem to just be exploding, more and more every day. Okay, so some key crypto benefits. Now, these are some things it could do, doesn't necessarily mean it does, but reducing corruption, because it's on a public blockchain. It's one of the misconceptions is sort of that everything is public. The different places, different systems have different ways to prove who you are or are allowing you to be anonymous. But the actual activity of each account is public. And so you could see a future where that does reduce corruption in the sense that you see exactly how much people are getting for a good and how much they're paying for it. Eliminating extreme money printing. Some people are concerned about inflation, and then they maybe invest in things like gold. And now you're seeing people invest in Bitcoin in attempt to hedge their bets. Giving people charge of their own money. I think there is something about ownership to it, that people want to be part of it and part of the movement of it, and feel like they really own it. And no matter what the government does or what the US dollar does or other things, that they have this other currency. Now, I don't know. I'm sure they're all connected, so I don't know how useful that is, but that's how people feel. Cutting out the middleman. Again, you're getting rid of banks that are kind of taking a cut of some of these financial transactions, and serving the unbanked, which I mentioned before. Now, some common crypto and blockchain myths. Cryptocurrencies are good only for criminals. Now, I mean, there has obviously, I'm sure there's cases of criminals using cryptocurrencies. I think that's probably how it's sort of got famous, was, people buying things on the dark web and stuff and using Bitcoin or whatever. But like I said, the different cryptocurrencies are different, and a lot of things are public. And for example, there was that story recently of the New York couple who got arrested for stealing billions of dollars of Bitcoin. And they found them because all of the transactions are on a public ledger. And if you know how to look, you can keep going back and back and back until you find the original person. So it shows that you can't, you can get away with some things, but not everything. And there's reason to be optimistic about that, I think. You can make anonymous transactions using all cryptocurrencies. So I guess that's two sides of the coin. If you want to be able to make anonymous transactions, for some things you can. The only application of blockchain is Bitcoin. So of course, there's other things that rely on the blockchain, such as NFTs and other cryptocurrencies. And all blockchain activity is private. So again, it's not all private. Now, the big risks, I mean, volatility. It's a very volatile market. You see that, Bitcoin was going up, and then it crashed to like half the value. And, some people have some serious money invested in these things. And so, you have to realize that it's an extremely volatile market. So, buyer beware. And the lack of regulation. And, it's a much different kind of market than, say, Wall Street or something. And there is a lack of regulation, which, leads to some bad actors taking advantage. And then also, who knows what the future will bring in terms of regulation. So it's, again, it's a volatile market. So gearing up to make transactions. So one of the things to consider is the wallets. So I mentioned, for example, Coinbase. So the way that a lot of these cryptocurrencies would work is you would, download an app and create a wallet where you would be able to use to buy Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency on an exchange. So the exchanges are where you're buying and selling them, and then the money goes into your wallet, or the cryptocurrency goes in your wallet. And then there's communities around these different cryptocurrencies. So there's also this sort of idea of the meme coin, like Dogecoin or something, which is sort of grown out of an internet meme. And then the popularity of the meme creates sort of this community around it, and they kind of rally around this currency. So again, it's sort of a very different kind of concept of money when you have communities rallying around different currencies. It seems, kind of silly, but that's what's happening. All right, so a little bit more about Bitcoin. No single person or entity owns the Bitcoin network, much like no one owns the technology behind email. Bitcoin users around the world control Bitcoin, with the developer improving the software and the forkers making some radical change. The main idea behind Bitcoin and Bitcoin's protocol, though, can't be changed. In mid-April 2011, Bitcoin's market cap was about $6 million. In April 2021, the market cap was over $1 trillion. So if you had bought one Bitcoin for $2 in November of 2011, your single Bitcoin would have been worth $64,000 in April of 2021. And that's sort of the mind-blowing math of it that I think turns heads when you hear these stories of somebody puts in thousands of dollars in Bitcoin years ago, and it balloons up so much that they're billionaires all of a sudden, things like that. Bitcoin is popular and accessible. Again, it's popular, it's been around the longest. Most people, it's what they've heard of. And it's pretty much the easiest one to get on. When you download a wallet and go on an exchange, it's the most common one. Here's some characteristics of Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin's trading symbol is BTC. Bitcoin is mineable. So once again, you have like computer farms doing the mining, and then what it pays the people who are mining it in the cryptocurrency. So that's how they get paid off, actually do it and keep it going. The coin creation occurs through proof of work. So it's just this idea, this POW. Again, it's a public ledgers, and it's showing proof of work. Transaction time is between 10 minutes and 24 hours. Transactions aren't fully anonymous. Again, that's a misconception. Bitcoin is decentralized, and mining Bitcoin requires a lot of, like I said, wasted energy, and that's something that definitely needs to be improved upon. All right, so let's talk about Ethereum next. So compared to Bitcoin, Ethereum is a relatively young currency. Russian-American Vitalik Buterin, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I said it. He proposed it in 2013. Ethereum uses the old Bitcoin's wisdom and philosophy, but it has a different purpose and capability. Ethereum is a decentralized platform that runs smart contracts. So smart contracts allow people to create agreements without a middleman. So again, you're seeing this decentralization idea, this Web3 idea. What can we do? Get rid of the middleman and create, agreements between people that can be taken seriously and proven. So Ethereum creates these smart contracts by employing the same blockchain technology as Bitcoin. And just as Bitcoin's blockchain and network validate Bitcoin ownership, Ethereum's blockchain validates smart contracts, which the encoded rules execute. And so the smart contracts are important when it comes to things like NFTs. They're, built basically using smart contracts. So we'll get into that a little bit more later. And that's why many of the famous NFTs right now are on the Ethereum network. Ethereum characteristics. Ethereum's token symbol for investors is ETH. Ethereum is mineable. Again, coin creation occurs through proof of work. Transaction time can be as little as 14 seconds, although it can go higher based on confirmation requirements. Transactions aren't fully anonymous. Ethereum is more decentralized than Bitcoin even, and mining Ethereum requires less wasted energy than Bitcoin mining does. I know like a year or two ago, I think they released some sort of update to it that made it 99% more efficient. So I know they're still working to make it as energy efficient as possible. And I just took a scan from a book that I was using for this. with some top 10 cryptos as of 2021. And so you could kind of see a few different ones and maybe what the description is to kind of show like what the purpose of them is. You know, this Tether saying it's mirrors the price of the dollar. Binance is its own exchange, so they made their own coin. Solana is for decentralized finance projects. USD coin mirrors the US dollar again. Dogecoin is a meme coin with the Shiba Inu dog as its mascot. So, you know, there's different reasons for, you know, some of them are doing very similar things, but, you know, there's obviously a reason that people are trying to launch these different cryptocurrencies. All right, so let's get into NFTs. So NFT stands for non-fungible token. So this is the worst branding ever. You know, it's what does it mean? No one's heard of fungible or non-fungible. You know, it'd be better if they just called them tokens, because that's basically, you know, what it is. It's a digital token. But to try and explain it, think of dollar bills or a share of Microsoft stock or Bitcoin. Each represent a defined set where items within the set are fungible. So put simply, we don't care which dollar bills we receive if we receive the right quantity, since each dollar bill fulfills the same purpose and obligations as another. Doesn't matter whether it's this $1 bill or that $1 bill, it's a dollar bill is a dollar bill. But a non-fungible good are also a regular, but non-fungible goods are different than that. You know, that's saying that it's this item is different than this item. You can't exchange them one for one. Non-fungible goods are also a regular and far more prevalent part of our lives. For example, apples at the grocery store, orchids from the florist, and tickets to an upcoming concert, right? Not every ticket to a concert is made the same. You know, some are better tickets, some are worse, you know, if it's a seated concert. A non-fungible token or NFT is a unique digital identifier that's secured and stored on a public blockchain. One token is not interchangeable for another, and a token cannot be further divided. So this is important, the idea that what the NFT is a unique digital identifier. And so it's basically somewhere on the blockchain, it's saying, you know, this person owns this thing. And it's really that confirmation on the smart contract, that's the important part. It confirms the ownership. So let's talk about some projects. This is where I think it gets more fun. CryptoKitties. So with the overwhelming success of CryptoKitties, a non-fungible token on Ethereum that debuted in 2017, the ERC 721 non-fungible token standard soon followed to serve as a blueprint for the development community. Since then, there's been an explosion of NFT projects, with more than 15,000 NFTs deployed on Ethereum alone. So, exploring uses for NFTs. The NFT space is still in its infancy, but already the development community is teeming with ideas on how to put them to good use. The most natural use case, the one currently dominating the marketplace, is in tracking digital collectibles. From there, gaming items and digital media were natural extensions. We see many interesting use cases for NFTs on the horizon. Some of these could truly disrupt the way we validate, track, and assign ownership of unique and esoteric items or work to effectively democratize content creation and distribution. Imagine taking the costly detective work and verifying the ownership of a rare collectible. Or imagine a world where expensive eBay auctions included a proof of ownership on the Ethereum blockchain. Finding out how an NFT works. So people often confuse the NFT itself with what the NFT was built to represent. So an NFT is a cryptographically secure digital record that verifies your ownership or access to, say, a piece of digital art, sort of like how your car title verifies ownership of your vehicle. You don't really own your car in your possession without the title, and you don't really own the CryptoKitty in your collection of JPEGs without the corresponding NFT. So the digital art you purchase is easy to duplicate. However, because the NFT is secured on a public blockchain, it's far more difficult to illegally transfer, duplicate, or otherwise hack. So the beauty of NFTs lies in the underlying technology, a nexus of smart contracts and distributed network of validators that allows you to reliably and automatically verify who truly owns the NFT. So, so people say sometimes, oh, it's a criticism, people think, to say, you're not even buying this image. You're buying a link on a website that's saying you own this image. But that's true, but that's the point, because it is a language that everyone that uses it can speak, that says, I know you own this and I can buy this from you, and I know it's legitimate and that kind of thing. And the fact that it exists on the blockchain means you can use it for other things other than just proving ownership. So the impact of NFTs. It's helping to democratize the blockchain, representing ownership, trading between users, enabling smart contracts, creating digital scarcity, and solving problems, right? So digital scarcity, I mean, if you made a piece of digital art, how would you sell that before? People would just copy and paste it. But now you can copy and paste it, but now we can say, well, this one person is the owner. So it changes the way it works. Let's see. So I'm going to talk about a few more of the projects. And I have a couple of videos that are in here that I think will help enlighten you a little bit too. So we'll get there. CryptoPunks, though, let's start there. CryptoPunks is a non-fungible token NFT collection on the Ethereum blockchain. So the project was launched in June 2017 by the Larva Labs studio, a two-person team consisting of Canadian software developers Matt Hall and John Watkinson. The experimental project was inspired by the London punk scenes, the cyberpunk movement, and electronic music artist Daft Punk. The crypto art blockchain project was an inspiration for the ERC 721 standard for NFTs and the modern crypto art movement, which has since been a part of the cryptocurrency and decentralized finance ecosystems on multiple blockchains. And so I thought that, so this is one of the most popular collections, and these are some of the most expensive digital goods you can see. And actually, it's good timing because, very interestingly, tonight at Sotheby's is an auction of 104 CryptoPunks in one batch. And I'm sure this will be selling for millions of dollars, which might seem crazy to you, but that's what's happening. So I have this video here. I'm going to play it. Let me know if you have any issues seeing it or hearing it, okay?
Look at punks, I don't just see these interesting, colorful characters. When I look at punks, I don't just see these interesting, colorful characters. I see the door being kicked wide open into the next frontier, a new age in art and technology, this really interesting fusion.
CryptoPunks will always remain known as the very first generative art avatar project that was launched on the Ethereum blockchain. It has put down the template and influenced most of the NFT projects that followed. Punkit is the first NFT event very unique in its kind. We are very proud at Sotheby's to offer 104 CryptoPunks as a single lot to be offered in New York on the 23rd of February in a live auction. This is a very rare opportunity and very unique opportunity to be one of the largest holders of the most historic and iconic NFT projects.
CryptoPunks are 10,000 pixel art characters created algorithmically. It's a generative art project. The algorithm ensures that there are no repetitions, so every single character is unique. They're 24 by 24 pixels. They were released to the world in June of 2017 and were made available for free for anyone to come in and claim and collect and then trade. It was all part of an experimentation, really, to explore the possibilities of digital ownership of digital objects.
Like most of the masterpieces that marked a turn in the history of art, the CryptoPunks were almost an experiment, using an innovation of the time that resulted in becoming the figurehead of the NFT and profile picture movement. The same way Fontaine by Duchamp was an experiment when created in 1917, it became, over time, the starting point of the conceptual art. This auction is showing and proving that we consider CryptoPunks at the same level of any masterpiece we can sell at Sotheby's, and there is not any different treatment because it's NFTs or because it's half of the candidates are from a different ecosystem. We do recognize the importance in the frame of history of art.
The whole presentation of the punks was very compelling because they were presented as a community. If you look at that image of 10,000 characters, and they're all condensed, they're all abutting one another. Other projects that existed presented the art as cards, and they were separate from one another. CryptoPunks were all together, and it just seemed like a whole civilization there, this whole community that already exists. And just by virtue of that, it compelled you to want to enter that community and join it.
When you purchase and adopt a CryptoPunk, you also enter a club of top NFT collectors. Using a CryptoPunk as profile picture on social media attests of your social status in the NFT space.
When we look back at the history of digital art, and therefore all of art, it's very likely that we're going to look at it in terms of the pre-CryptoPunk era and post-CryptoPunk era. That's how powerful the impact has been of this little project.
Okay. So I had a question here. See if I can find it. Okay, so Dan is asking me, what stops a person from photographing a piece of art that they don't own and selling it as an NFT? And so this is like one of the sort of biggest sort of misconceptions that I think people have, because they think that, you know, you're paying for something and I can right click on it and save the image and I own it now too. But it's not quite the same. You can take my art, say I own something, right? An NFT. You could take that NFT and you can mint it as your own NFT and try to sell it. But everyone who's savvy, who knows what they're doing, knows that that's not the real collection. That's from you, and you're not the creator of the collection. So when you're looking, and I'll show you guys this a little later, you can see what the real collection, the official collection is. And that, you know, I'm the one that owns the real one. And so that's what, you know, is the difference, is that it's public, that I own the real one. So then, you know, you might be able to try and, you know, maybe illegally make your own version of it, but it's, you know, very clearly mine in public. I hope that answers your question. But I think when I'll show you the website where, you know, people often purchase them, and you'll be able to see the difference. I think I'll be able to explain it when I show you that. So, so I thought that was interesting that the, you know, CryptoPunks are, you know, getting up there and having a huge auction tonight, because they are really the beginning of this part of this movement. And then you have the Bored Ape Yacht Club, which is similar. So the Bored Ape Yacht Club, or simply the Bored Apes, is also an NFT collection on the Ethereum blockchain. And the collection features profile pictures of apes that are generated by an algorithm. So Yuga Labs generated the project on April 30th, 2021. So that's, much more recent within the past year, whereas CryptoPunks are, from 2017. It took many years for them to become popular. But owners of a Bored Ape NFT are granted access to a private online club and intellectual property rights for the image. And so that's also something that, there's different smart contracts that describe different things. So some collections, you have the intellectual property rights for the image that you buy. So, you can make t-shirts with your Bored Ape on it and sell them and make money, and that's perfectly fine. Some of them, you don't even have those rights. You're really just buying sort of the right to look at an image. But also, some of them are also Creative Commons, which are meant to be, free for public use. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. But the Bored Apes were part of these, really the explosion in 2021 of this movement where the NFTs kind of started exploding and being sold for, huge amounts of money and things like that. And now a Bored Ape, Jimmy Fallon has a Bored Ape, Paris Hilton has a Bored Ape, a lot of celebrities have bought them. And again, that's the whole idea, is this, their profile pictures, which sounds silly, like who cares so much, but it's become something where on social media, you use it to, just like anything else, like an expensive handbag, it's, something that you're using to show your clout. Think about how much people clamor for a blue verified check mark on Twitter. It means something. Well, if you have an official Bored Ape, it shows that you either have a lot of money to buy it, or you were in from the beginning and you are very savvy. So that's kind of, what started happening, and then it's really taken off. And so then I wanted to talk about Nouns, which is one of my favorite projects. So, I have a picture here. You can see what some of them look like. One noun every day forever. So nouns are an experimental attempt to improve the formation of on-chain avatar communities. So while projects such as CryptoPunks have attempted to bootstrap digital community and identity, nouns attempt to bootstrap identity, community, governance, in a treasury that can be used by the community. Okay, so this is a very different concept for why you're buying art. So here's the summary, right? So Nouns artwork is in the public domain. All right, so people are spending lots of money on these, but they're actually the public domain. The image itself is in the public domain. So, you can make a t-shirt with a famous noun on it and sell it, and it's free. You can do whatever you want with it. One noun is trustlessly auctioned every 24 hours forever. So as long as these networks are running, every day there's going to be an auction for a different noun. And if it's confusing, nouns it's like each artwork is called a noun. 100% of noun auction proceeds are trustlessly sent to the treasury. So there's a treasury, and it's very open. You're seeing these transactions on the blockchain, and it doesn't go through someone who could take some out of it. It's going straight to this treasury. Settlement of one auction kicks off the next. So again, it's one every day. As soon as one's over, the next one starts. All nouns are members of the Nouns DAO. And so this is another word that's big in Web 3.0, DAO, decentralized autonomous organization. And what it basically is, it's almost like a company, like a board of trustees, but everyone that has a vote is one vote in the DAO. And so it's almost like a huge board of trustees. So what it's saying is that every person who buys a noun has a vote in the organization of what is going to happen with the treasury of the money. So this is really interesting to me. So one noun is equal to one vote too. So if you're purchasing more, you're going to have more of a say. And the treasury is controlled exclusively by nouns via governance. So artwork is generative and stored directly on chain. And no explicit rules exist for attribute scarcity. All nouns are equally rare. And so what you'll see is for example, the 10,000 avatar profile picture projects, there's rarity of certain traits. And so those are more valued and usually cost more. So what they're saying is that there's no trait that is more valued than another in the algorithm. So they're all equally rare. And nounders, which are the founders of nouns, they receive rewards in the form of nouns, 10% of the supply for the first 5 years. So that's a pretty cool thing that they set up for themselves, but they're the ones that started it. And I'll just show you, I want to show you their website because it is sort of interesting. So you can see today is the 23rd, and this is now 218. So this is the 218th day that they've done this. And right now, this is the noun that they're all bidding on. And you can bid, anyone can bid. Right now, the bid is 8.88 Ether, which you can see on the blockchain here is the $23,000. So that's what the, right now, the highest bid for this. So I feel like a lot of people would say, you have to be crazy to spend $23,000 on a picture that's, in the public domain. But that's not really what you're buying. You're buying that which is going to be worth a lot, even though it is in the public domain. There is social clout that comes with the fact that you are the owner, and it also is, governance of the DAO. But what is cool about this website is the playground. So if you go to this, it's nouns.wtf, which is a strange website, but that's what it is. And they have this playground. And so this is how they generate a noun. It's random, and you can actually make your own, and you can even play around with it how you want to do, and you could create new ones. And it's public domain, so you can use this any way you want. If you wanted to change your profile picture to a noun, you can just download this and use it. They're saying go for it. Use this noun as your profile picture. So obviously this is not giving you access to the DAO, but this is going to give you a sense of what the artwork's like, and it's pretty cool and fun. You got the donut head, a taco head, this pig or whatever this is. So it's playful, it's fun. It's got this pixel art quality, and these glasses are very recognizable. And so, actually what's interesting is Budweiser bought a noun because there was a noun that came out that is, the head is a beer mug. So they said, well, we'll buy that. And then they are actually sort of, kind of promoting this nouns universe and with the glasses and things like that. And so there was a commercial for the Super Bowl where they featured these glasses, and they made physical versions of them to send out to certain people. But to show kind of how it works too. So then Budweiser released their own NFT collection. And then what can they offer their collectors? Well, they have a vote for the Nouns DAO. And so then what they do is, if the Nouns DAO is voting on something, they present it to their community and say, how should we use our vote? And then their community votes and decides how the Budweiser is going to vote in the Nouns DAO. So, and they have done it. So, Budweiser is officially part of the Nouns DAO and, voting, which is showing you kind of how these, it's taking over to the point where these companies are coming in. So that's pretty cool. That's what nouns are about. Okay, so I talked a little bit about DAOs and decentralized autonomous organizations, right? So I'll just go over this again quickly. They're an effective and safe way to work with like-minded folks around the globe. Think of them like an internet native business that's collectively owned and managed by its members. So they have built-in treasuries that no one has the authority to access without the approval of the group. Decisions are governed by proposals and voting to ensure everyone in the organization has a voice. There's no CEO who can authorize spending based on their own whims, and no chance of a dodgy CFO manipulating the books. Everything is out in the open, and the rules around spending are baked into the DAO via its code. So why do we need DAOs? Well, starting an organization with someone that involves funding and money requires a lot of trust in the people you're working with. But it's hard to trust someone you've only ever interacted with on the internet. So with DAOs, you don't need to trust anyone else in the group, just the DAO's code, which is 100% transparent and verifiable by anyone. So this opens up so many new opportunities for global collaboration and coordination. All right, so this is a fun one. A guide to NFT Twitter terminology. So, NFTs are really big on Twitter. That the big part of the community is on Twitter and the app Discord. That's where a lot of action is happening around NFTs. This guy, 6529. So this also goes to show, okay, this guy goes by the avatar, his CryptoPunk. He is the CryptoPunk 6529. He owns CryptoPunk 6529. Now I'm saying, hey, I don't know who it is, because no one knows who Punk 6529 is. They could be Jimmy Fallon having fun. They could be, some guy in his basement. Nobody knows. But the fact that he owns Punk 6529, he has built an entire digital reputation around it. And now he's a well-respected voice on NFT Twitter. But it just goes to show how powerful these avatars are, because they allow you to create sometimes a following without having to show your face. And it could be empowering. What if you're not somebody who's wants to have people looking at you and judging you by the way you look? You can kind of use an avatar to express who you are or who you want to present yourself to be on the internet. And so he had posted this thread on Twitter back in September of 2021, which is around the time I was getting into all this. But he goes into some of the language, because you'll hear language around, NFTs that for a newcomer are probably, sound crazy. So I'll go over some of this. GM. So GM means good morning. And we say good morning to each other because we are a friendly, happy, optimistic global community. And it is nice to say good morning to your friends as you start your day. And so it's become such a thing that they don't even say GM, good night, anymore. People just say GM no matter what time of the day is. It's basically like, hey, what's up? It's the NFT community's way of saying hi is GM. So then you get Sir, which is spelled S-E-R. And it's used as a way to respectfully introduce oneself or perhaps share an alternative point of view. Friend. Friend means friend, because we're all friends here on a happy mission quest together. GMI or WAGMI, gonna make it, or we're all gonna make it. So the happy future state when everyone understands our JPEGs the way we do. This person bought a punk, we're all gonna make it. WAGMI, not going to make it. NGMI, they're not going to make it. That's used in a self-deprecating way about one's own personal bad decisions. I sold a Fidenza for 5 ETH, I'm not gonna make it. McDonald's. So this is sort of a meme. Our backup career plan in case the not going to make it scenario comes true. Sold the Fidenza for 5 ETH. I'm applying now to McDonald's. Lost all my money, so these JPEGs. Now I'm going back to McDonald's. It's kind of a meme. LL stands for Larva Labs, who created the CryptoPunks. AB stands for Art Blocks, which is also another famous generative art collection. And generative art is art that is algorithmically generated. And ideally in real time when minted. So, at the time that you buy it, the first person to buy it, it gets minted and then it's, created at that time. PFP stands for profile picture, like the CryptoPunks. Looks rare. So rarity is often a driver of value in the space. So it can be used ironically. FOMO, the fear of missing out. So, you're buying a project because you keep hearing about it. So you FOMO into it. So one of one art is sort of like a unique piece of art rather than a 10,000 piece collection. One of one is just a collection of one. IRL in real life, because in the NFT world, people get too, obsessed with the computer. They gotta remember what it's like IRL. So these are just a bunch of different things. I thought this was fun. But just to show you this, all of these things that are part of the NFT community. So let's go back here. All right, so now I'm going to talk about some famous NFT artists that I think are really interesting. So first is the everydays, the first 5,000 days, which is from 2021. So on May 1st of 2007, Mike Winkleman, aka the digital artist Beeple, posted a new work of art online. He did the same thing the next day and the next one after that, creating and posting a brand new digital picture, or every day, as he called it, every single day for 13 and a half years. Now those individual pieces have been brought together in Every Days, the first 500 days, a unique work in the history of digital art. So minted exclusively for Christie's, the monumental digital collage was offered as a single lot sale concurrently with First Open and realized $69 million, marking two industry firsts. Christie's is the first major auction house to offer a purely digital work with a unique NFT, effectively a guarantee of its authenticity, which Christie's is interested in, and to accept cryptocurrency, in this case Ether, in addition to standard forms of payment for the singular lot. So this was bought with cryptocurrency, this NFT. I like Beeple. I think he's a funny guy, and I think he explains well sort of what's going on and why he is into NFTs and why it's important for art. So if you'll indulge me, I'm going to play this, it's maybe about a 10-minute clip from The Tonight Show where he interviews people. This was after he sold a more recent work of art, which again is very interesting, and you'll see.
Welcome to The Tonight Show. What should I call you? Do I call you Beeple?
You can call me Mike or Beeple. I'm pretty cash. So
Yeah.
Whatever, either way is good.
How did Beeple come about? Where did it come from?
So it's a little toy from like the 80s that's this like Ewok looking thing that like beeps and like lights up. It was never really that popular.
Yeah, but you just got the nickname Beeple, yeah. Or you just took the name.
I took the name.
You took the name. Before we get into last night, and I'm so excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to get into, let's explain what you do. You're a digital artist who sells NFTs of your artwork. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I've been making digital art for the last like 20 years and sort of growing in sort of popularity over that time, but there was no way to sort of collect my work without the like NFT part of it. And so then this technology came along, NFTs, that allows sort of like ownership over something virtual, and that allowed people to actually collect what I do, similar to a painting or a sculpture or any other sort of like artist. And so things have gotten a little crazy since.
Yeah. So you just found out about NFTs.
It was about a year ago, and so my like fans kept coming up to me and being like, you should check this out. You really should check this out. And at first I was like, I don't get this. And then finally I did, and then it was like, yeah, no, this is gonna be big.
I just bought my.
It's gonna be big.
I just got my first NFT.
Oh, you did? What was it?
Through MoonPay. MoonPay.
Okay, there it is. There it is.
You know what I'm talking about? This is real. MoonPay, which is I'm figuring. I did my homework.
Okay.
MoonPay, which is like PayPal but for crypto, and I bought an ape.
Okay, yeah, Bored Apes, yeah.
I was gonna say I bought Human One last night for $29 million.
Shut up, bro. You gotta throw a hat in the ring.
But before NFTs, before you did this and be able to do this, I think NFTs are great for artists. But
sure.
What was the largest amount of money you sold a piece of work for?
$100, because it's sort of like I wasn't trying to sell work like that, and sort of like people, you could sell prints, but it just generally people didn't do it that much. They weren't as excited about it, versus this being sort of like natively digital. People are very excited about it.
So last night, Human One sold for $29 million.
It did.
And yeah, and were you there or?
Yeah, we were at the auction. My whole family was there. I've got 2 young kids, and my parents were there. And yeah, they set us up with a little booth and food and stuff. And yeah, it was definitely
but it's
very
fascinating.
surreal.
It's a great piece of art. It's an astronaut just continuously walking.
Yeah, it's like
not
a
necessarily
giant
in space.
metal box that has like a bunch of screens on it, and it's slowly rotating, and it kind of like creates this illusion.
We have a
that
video,
it's sort
I
of
think,
like
footage of
inside this kind of like void. So
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
a metal,
And you
it's a
could-
giant like refrigerator-sized box that just keeps turning, and the environment will continue to change. And I think that's what's exciting about this piece, and I think is more analogous to sort of the future of art, is that we'll have pieces in our house that continue to change, and sort of it's not just like a static painting that just that's it. It is what it is. I think we're going to have more things like this.
Yeah. The first time I've heard about you was another auction. Your work sold for $69 million. Put you in the top 3 most valuable living artists in the world, buddy.
It's been a year.
It has been a year, pal. But let me tell you something. It's been a year, yeah. I just love the story. I love the American dream because you were happy before when you sold things for $100.
Yeah.
And you're having a great life. And you have a great wife, kids, and mom and dad. I met them. And then this project, this collage, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
Called Every Days. You started doing it 14 years ago. You drew it. You painted every single day.
I do a picture every single day. It started in 2007, and it's done start to finish that day.
But no
they're mostly
goal.
they're done on the computer, most of them.
Yeah.
Some of them were drawn in the very, very beginning, but almost all of them are done in the computer each day.
But you had no clue that NFTs would ever exist or what.
Before the blockchain, that was before like any of this stuff, and so it was.
So what is your wife saying to you? Like, hey, like. Honey,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? Like with all these digital paintings, you every single day since 2007.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like they had brought in a bunch of work. Like I've done, concert visuals, and I was sort of, growing a following and getting better and better sort of freelance work from these pictures. And
They're gorgeous, amazing.
I appreciate that.
I want to show a couple of these.
Oh boy, this is not. I don't. Okay, that's okay.
This first one is not. This is like. This is different than your other stuff, right?
So yeah, this was the absolute very first one, and that is a picture of my Uncle Jim that I drew. I don't know why I drew it that day. It was just like, okay, I'm going to start this thing. Obviously, could not have imagined that 14 years later now.
It's on the Tonight Show, yeah.
there it is,
Uncle Jim, yeah. But then this is more the type of Beeple stuff that I'm like this is called Jabba the Pooh / Winnie the Hut.
Okay, I don't know. That's some of them are weird.
Okay,
some of them are weird.
This one might be one of my favorite ones. This one's called First Emoji, and it's like our ancestors building or someone building Rome. Who knows?
Yeah, I was just kind of trying to imagine if they were like building this weird thing that they didn't even understand why they were building this emoji or what it is back in medieval times. This was actually the day my daughter was born, and I had to do it very quickly before we went to the hospital, which doesn't sound great, but it was like 2 minutes, so yeah.
And this one's just called Hey. Okay, yeah. Self-explanatory, yeah. Self-explanatory, yeah. Well, do you have any advice for people who want to get into this or get into what you're doing, or?
Yeah, there's tons of tutorials out there, and there's free software out there as well, and I think it's something that, takes a lot of work and practice, and again, I've been, making digital art for 20 years, so it's not going to be kind of an overnight thing, but I think you're going to see a lot of people do this, and a lot more sort of, artists kind of take this approach just because it is another way you can kind of, monetize and sort of make a living.
Congratulations on everything, buddy. I'm a fan, and please come
Thank
back
you so much.
and follow your career.
Very much.
Beeple, everybody!
All right, so I thought that was pretty good. I hope you enjoyed that. And so I'm going to talk about a couple more. This is right-click Save As guy. And so, again, what you see kind of is like this kind of artwork. I mean, you can't print out artwork that looks like this, something that's moving like this. So this is from Xcopy, who is a London-based digital artist and crypto enthusiast. And he presents art pieces with a dark and dystopian atmosphere, often paired with flashing images and epilepsy trigger warning. A lot of people are still unsure about why people buy NFTs when they can just save the image and claim it as their own. So Xcopy took this doubt and turned it into an NFT, selling it for more than $4 million. Xcopy's right-click and Save As guy contains flashing animated images in darker colors. The description states, "Why would I buy it when I can right-click and save as?" Despite the amusing comment, right-click and Save As guy was bought December 9th, 2021 to someone who decided to not just click right and save the image. And these are a series of artworks called fidenzas, and they're very popular and very well sought after. And I think they're kind of beautiful. So I just wanted to show you those. And Tyler Hobbs is the artist, and this is what he says on his website. Fidenza is my most versatile generative algorithm to date. Although it is not overly complex, the core structures of the algorithm are highly flexible, allowing for enough variety to produce continuously surprising results. I consider this to be one of the most interesting ways to evaluate the quality of a generative algorithm, and certainly one that is unique to the medium. Striking the right balance of unpredictability and quality is a difficult challenge for even the best artists in this field. This is why I'm so excited that Fidenza is being showcased on Art Blocks, the only site in existence that perfectly suits generative art and raises the bar for developing these kinds of high-quality generative art algorithms. And so again, I think what you're seeing here is a real merging of technology and art in a way that is just fascinating. At least it is to me, and I think for a lot of people. Ferocious. So teen artist Ferocious is leading an NFT renaissance. The 19-year-old is a pop surrealist digital artist who has taken the NFT and crypto world by storm. With more than 100,000 followers across Instagram and Twitter, the young artist has sold a total of 3,189 NFT pieces, averaging about a little more than $8,000 each. His highest recorded sale, a piece titled "Nice to Meet You, I'm Mr. Misunderstood," depicts a sobbing character, seemingly lifted from a children's show, as colorful swatches surround his body. Each piece is designed differently, with both pops of color and monochromatic segments. And the creative flowers and clouds bring to mind a fourth-grade diorama made with a shoebox and plenty of shiny wax paper. The piece comes along with a 30 by 30 inch canvas, oil paint, and gloss finish. And so I also have a video with Ferocious. So let's maybe take a look at this one too, if you don't mind.
I like to start with eyes, big picture, big color.
If I told you the next Picasso drew on an iPad, would you believe me?
I like how bold the color red is, something about it.
Each stroke and blending of color and texture, all with an Apple Pencil, contrived yet fluid, and all a part of a bigger masterpiece.
I try not to erase. Art is better when you can see layers or see an artist's hesitance. You can see their confidence.
And as soon as one of these goes live online, it's got digital collectors offering up fortunes for the original.
Oh my goodness, it's currently at $550,000. I don't even know if this is.
Meet Ferocious.
I've never sold nothing in my life.
AKA Victor Langlois. His friends online call him Fiwo. He's an 18-year-old digital artist living in Seattle. In the past year alone, Victor turned 18, moved out, sold over $18 million worth of his art, got his own solo auction, and he came out.
It's almost like your life kind of changed overnight.
Kind of, honestly. The day after I sold my first NFT, it gave me that confidence, and ever since then, it's just kept growing.
There's an art revolution going on, and Ferocious is at the center of it.
The fact that everyone is talking about it, the fact that we're doing this is really surreal.
The 18-year-old is making bank through issuing his art as NFTs, a cryptocurrency-backed system that's been one of the hottest trends of 2021.
This is a very unique moment in time for art.
In what initially seemed like a niche market, now everyone wants a piece. From musicians to athletes to Hollywood's biggest stars.
Before we go any further, you're probably wondering what an NFT is. NFT, non-fungible token. Viral moments like Disaster Girl or Charlie Bit My Finger. Sports trading cards, even Jack Dorsey's first tweet, going for hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions. And while everyone seems to be talking about it, no one seems to know what it is.
Even the world's biggest auction house is getting in on it. Christie's, first breaking the record for the largest ever NFT sale with artist Beeple, whose work went for $69 million.
Noah, what the heck is an NFT?
Great question. It's essentially just a really unique line of code. It's an indelible and immutable creative moment in time that you own and only you can own it.
In essence, the NFT serves as a digital certificate of authenticity for something online that makes it one of a kind.
Explain to me that idea, because in theory, I could take a screenshot of one of your images and share it, right?
Yeah, you definitely could. But the thing is, you don't have the exact token. So it's about owning the token.
Why should I value the token?
I don't know, it's kind of like, why do you value anything?
Artists like Victor are able to receive royalties for their work in perpetuity, earning a cut each time a piece is resold. Now, Christie's is hosting Victor as the youngest artist ever with a solo show.
Do you think having a show like this here validates it in a way?
Yeah, but I mean, it does, absolutely, for some people, and for other people it will antagonize them. You know, there's something about NFTs that are super polarizing in a way that I can't really compare to any other movement in recent art history, other than maybe street art.
And Fiwo isn't wasting any time, using his debut to flip the script on the high art world. Not just helping introduce the world to a whole new industry of NFTs, but also introducing the world to himself as Victor, stepping out from behind the tablet screen to speak candidly about his truth for the first time as an out transgender artist.
Then it was just me growing up knowing that I'm not cis, but not knowing that you can be transgender.
For Ferocious's show, he chose to bridge the world of digital and physical art to tell a bigger story. Titled, "Hello, I'm Victor Ferocious and this is my life." It takes a look at the last 5 years of the artist's life, a story of self-acceptance that began with denial and a lot of pain.
So this is year 15. This is when a child feels lost, and it shows me in a panic. That's the suicidal year. That's the worst year of my life.
Growing up in Las Vegas, Nevada, Victor, who was raised as Victoria, says he had a traumatic childhood.
So at 12 years old, I went to my grandparents' house. I moved schools, I moved everything. Everything changed, my life changed.
Victor saw his creative outlet as an escape. He first began selling digital works reprinted on t-shirts, earning as much as $100 a piece. It wasn't until he found out about NFTs from a collector in early 2020 that doors really started to open.
I thought he was trying to take the rights to my art, so you bet I did all this research, all this Googling, and I saw that it was legit. I saw that artists are getting royalties. I saw that it was a revolution.
On the day of our interview, Victor's show at Christie's was announced. He also used the opportunity to come out to all of his fans as transgender.
Christie's is such an honor, but also, even more than that, telling the world I'm trans, having a whole thing about being trans. It feels like I'm alive for the first time. It's weird. I mean, it's kind of scary because I feel like I missed out on all these years of just like being a silly little kid.
What would you tell 12-year-old you?
All your dreams are coming true. They came true, and that you will achieve things and speak for people who don't really feel heard. And you'll speak for yourself when you didn't feel heard. And you will find this crazy art revolution, and your mind will be blown. But you were so strong, and you were so beautiful, and your name is Victor. And don't hide anymore. Because who you are is so beautiful. And it's beautiful to be alive. It's so beautiful.
How you feel right now?
I can't believe this is happening. And I can't believe today I told the world who I am. And it made me really sad that I didn't have that family I could call. And I didn't have that someone I could go for a hug, a congratulatory hug.
Can I give you a hug right now?
Yeah.
Cross country in New York, just days before the auction started.
I think it's really setting in that this is real.
And that raw emotion keeps overcoming the young artist.
All the times that I've been told that I'm wrong and that I'm a failure or that I'm a monster for just being this kid in my room making art. And finally, I get that validation of saying, it's cool to do that. It's celebrated to do that. It's celebrated to be you, authentically you.
Hi, everyone.
All right. So again, thanks for hanging through that. Now, I think I'm just going to go quickly show you through this website, OpenSea, and then I'll open up to any questions. So OpenSea.io is one of the websites where you can really see what is being sold, and you can purchase things for yourself, NFT wise. So this is the homepage. You can actually create your own collections and sell your own. You could take a picture and try to sell it and see if anyone will buy it. They'll have some notable drops. Here's the top selling collections, and then there's always trending. So these are the things that are selling quite well right now, and there's all sorts of different things. So for example, this is a collection that just came out, the Dead Friends. They're sort of like zombie pets. So you can see a little bit about it. You can see that there's right now 8,100 items. There's going to be 13,000. You can see that there's over 5,000 owners. The floor price, meaning the cheapest one you can buy, is 0.594, and 796 Ethereum in volume has been traded already. So if I click on this, it's going to show me what is available for purchase. And so these are the cheapest ones here, going up in price. So these 0.6. So for example, you might say, okay, so this one, this is on sale. The owner put it up for sale for 24 hours, or 23 hours left. And this is the price, 0.599. So about $1,600 in US currency. Right now, you can see there's an offer. Someone said, all right, I'll give you 1466 to 7% below what they're, they're asking for 0.59. Someone's saying, I'll pay you 0.55, this person. But they're not taking it. And so you can see some of the activity. Again, this is all public. So you could say it was minted only 35 minutes ago, and he listed it for 0.62 33 minutes ago. He got offers, and he lowered the price to 0.59. And you can see some other things. So this is the description. You can go look at the properties. And so this is where I was talking about the different traits. So you can say orange trait, the body is the wild monkey, So say you want to see other ones that have the wild monkey. You click on it, and these are the other ones with that same trait going up in price. Okay, so then you can also look at some other things. So if you go back to the collection itself, I could click on the volume here, and it'll show me a graph of, the average prices, the volume, and the sales. So 1 minute ago, this was purchased for $2,742. So and you can see. So now it's owned by this person. I can look at their wallet. They own 291 NFTs, and here they are. And so that's what's sort of interesting too about NFTs is it's if someone's buying a bunch of paintings and then they put it in their house, you don't get to see it. But since this is all public, you can actually go and take a look at what people are holding on to and what they're buying. Of course, it's unnamed. I don't know who this person is, but it's at least their activity is is there. And so you can look. You can explore. What I usually look at is the stats. If you go to the stats, it shows you the top NFTs the last 7 days. Sometimes I look at the last 24 hours for myself just to see what's rising in popularity. But you can see, for example, this is a new collection that just came out, the Three Landers. It's the top volume today in the past week. And so again, this is it's telling you a little bit about it. It's a collectible NFT project centered around community, adventure, and collaboration. It's on the Ethereum blockchain, and it gives you, it's saying that you're gonna be part of this community, and they'll probably have different ways in which you can, get access to things by connecting with your wallet and proving that you own the thing. But again, so you could say, buy now if you wanted to buy from this collection of 10,000. There's 1,991 for sale, and the cheapest one here is, you know, $3,700 for this guy. And so, you know, that's not, that might even seem expensive, but actually compared to some of these other ones, it's not even that bad. You know, for example, the CryptoPunks. So we've been talking about the CryptoPunks here. Here they are. You wanted to buy a CryptoPunk, you could, except if I went to a floor price, there's none. There's none on sale right now. But if you go to the volume, you know, 4 hours ago, CryptoPunk 5762 was bought for 88 Ethereum or $234,000, $563. $234,563 for this. So I know has its properties. These are the properties, and you know it's interesting. So you could see, you know, some of the history here. A year ago, you know, you have somebody who sold it for 2.9, you know, and now someone just sold it for 88. So imagine you're the person that, you know, they probably thought you made a good sale, and in some ways they did. I think that's what's interesting is, you know, each person, if they can buy it lower and then sell it higher, even if it gets sold higher in the future, you still made profit on it. And the other interesting thing that was kind of mentioned in the Ferocious video is that, you know, there's a percentage that actually goes to the owner when it's bought. So, you know, the original artist can keep making money off the resales, and that's really something that hasn't been done before. And so, you know, you have some resources here. You know, you can create a profile and things, but in order to do any of this, you would have to create a wallet for Ethereum, and you would probably use an extension for Chrome called MetaMask, and then you would connect it. So even if you go to the profile, it's saying, you know, MetaMask is most popular. There's a Coinbase wallet, and there's probably going to be more coming, you know, but this is sort of, you know, that's how you would get started if you were interested to at least look around and see what it's all about. So, you know, I hope that that was helpful, but that's pretty much all I've got. So let me know if you have any questions.
Josh?
Yeah.
When you buy these things, do you like get a JPEG of them or anything besides the token that you own it?
Yeah, I mean, you would get the JPEG, but essentially the JPEG is probably no different than the one that you're downloading here, when you would just right click and save it. Sometimes there's a website that has a higher, you know, definition picture of it that you could download if you buy it, that kind of thing. But it's also the fact that, for example, I mentioned Discord as being a very popular social media app for this kind of thing. And what Discord does is it creates a community. So say there's probably the Azuki community on Discord, and you go there and there's a way to prove that you own it. And once you prove it, it unlocks all these different channels where you could talk to different people. So that's like an example of owning it unlocks access to different digital things. So that's, it is the JPEG, but it's also other things too.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Wild.
Yeah, I know, you know, it's so new and it's so almost confusing that I know it's hard for people to wrap their heads around. So I hope that at least I kind of demystified a little bit of it for you guys.
Well, I found the whole NFT piece very helpful. Still not sure I get the whole blockchain thing though.
It's hard to explain. I'm definitely no expert on the blockchain, but I think the important thing is just that it's decentralizing things. That's really the main thrust of it.
And you can only buy NFTs with digital currency, yes?
Yeah, essentially that's true. For example, on OpenSea, you would have to do it through Ethereum. Although, for example, there is a website called Nifty Gateway, which is trying to, I think this is the one. But there's a website where you can buy it in cash, and they kind of do it for you. So,
Okay. All
but
right,
yeah,
cool. Thank you.
thank you.
I just had a question.
Okay.
Are there businesses that, let's say you have some art that you want to sell as NFTs, but you're not interested in all the details? Are there companies that act as your agent and they do all the stuff that you're talking about and, you know, take a commission? Is that a business?
I'm sure that will be a business. I don't know if it exists yet. I think a lot of people like the idea of taking, you know, ownership and,
Right.
you know, selling them themselves, for example, on here. But it's also, there's a whole other aspect, which is the smart contract, which, you know, if you're not a developer, you don't necessarily know the details of how to create that. Like, so OpenSea, for example, has their standard contract, but some people complain that it's not, you know, as good as some of the ones you can make yourself.
Right.
So I'm sure there will be, if there, you know, I haven't seen that myself, but I'm sure that it exists and that there will be eventually. Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, no problem. You know, there's
So
also,
if I went to you, because you know, and said, look, I have this artwork, why don't you sell it for me? And, you know, we'll figure out a commission for that. That's not done?
I haven't seen it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's done. I would have to look around. I could take a look for you, but
No, it's okay.
yeah, but you know, again, I think that that's the thing, is that this is opening up all different kinds of business opportunities and things for different people, because, you know, for example, there are now businesses that say they'll do a high quality print of your, you know, JPEG of your NFT, and then you hang it in your house, because, you know, you're not necessarily getting the print when you do it. So there are other kind of spin-off business ideas that are happening, and I'm sure that that's one of them.
And you can now sell NFTs to things besides digital art, right? Like album covers or clothes that somebody famous wore or something.
Well, I mean, there's like music NFTs, for example. There's all sorts of things. So, like, for example, you have, you know, like, this is Adidas, but they have, if you own it, then you have access to exclusive merchandise drops, that kind of thing. So, you know, they use it in that way, but there's all sorts of ways they're learning how to use it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, thanks for bringing me into the newer century.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming. I really appreciate you all coming. Are there any other questions, or should we just wrap it up? I think it sounds like that's it. So, you know, I'm at the library. You can always stop by reference or call and ask for me if you have any follow-up questions.
Okay.
You know, I'm happy to answer. So again, thank you so much for coming, and have a great day.